That's why I'm standing here. Don't question my integrity.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Well, you know, the Democrats went to frickin' war trying to block Jeanine Pirro's confirmation. Remember the complete hysterical meltdown that we saw not so long ago, led by Cory Booker? We had Democrats storming out of the room, attempting to filibuster the vote. We had them going on unhinged tirades, attacking Jeanine Pirro, a successful, trailblazing woman who shattered so many glass ceilings and broken so many barriers. They tried convincing us that she was unqualified and a lunatic. And well, I guess finally now we know why. Because the second U.S. Attorney Pirro actually takes her position, she drops the frickin' hammer. And in one swift move, totally dismantles the Democrat illegal immigration agenda. Jeanine Pirro is now throwing a wrench into the sanctuary city nonsense in Washington, D.C. with a new policy announcement that frankly seems long overdue that has you questioning why they weren't doing this in the frickin' first place. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on, and then maybe let's segue and take a little bit of time to see how little Cory Booker's doing. Spoiler alert, not so great. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so take a look at what just happened. Here's Jeanine Pirro officially confirming as U.S. Attorney that she's not playing games with the DC sanctuary city crap.
We are prioritizing the president's executive order to make DC safe and beautiful. And as part of that initiative, what my office has done in recent weeks is we are now trying to identify those illegals who are currently burrowed in our criminal justice system, who've identified themselves either as citizens or individuals with actual legal status who do not have status or are illegal. Previously, there was no questioning them, and there was certainly no verification of that. Now, I've got my chief criminal investigator, Matt Fox Moles, who has an enforcement removal officer embedded with his investigators, working with ICE to identify those individuals already in the system that we can then find out from ICE what their status is. Previously, no one even asked. They would just literally go through the system and either be convicted and possibly go to jail or be found not guilty and be released. But the D.C. City Council has worked very hard to make sure that these individuals avoid any contact with ICE, almost to the point where the law requires, upon a request by a defense attorney, that an illegal be removed to the Department of Corrections when there may be no actual case, to kind of throw the feds off, as opposed to simply releasing them from the courthouse right then and there. We're on top of this. We're making sure now that not just in the misdemeanor cases, but in the federal docket, the Superior Court docket, we are identifying the illegals that are in the system to make sure that DC is safe, that we know who is here and who is entitled to be here.
So she's ordering that the legal status of every person who enters the DC criminal justice system be verified, and if they're here illegally, then said individual gets flagged to ICE, and they can then pick the individual up. In other words, if you commit a crime and you're not even supposed to be in the country in the first place, you're not going to get protected by the woke DC nonsense that's currently running the show. You know, it's all making sense now. This is why they hate her. This is why they tried stopping her, because she leads with common sense, and that right there is the modern left's kryptonite. This is why they tried to stop her. This is why they launched the ridiculous smear campaigns, pushing their pathetic performative tantrum tactics. Remember the Senate walkout, the childish antics, all led by Senator Spartacus himself, googly-eyed Cory Booker. I mean, this guy really thought that he was going to derail the confirmation by storming out like a petulant child. Yeah, obviously, he knew he wasn't actually going to stop it. No, the real intention was obviously to pander to the woke outrage mob. You know, Cory Booker's seen the focus groups, he's seen the Democrat polls showing that Democrats want their politicians to fight. They don't want more affordable living, a better economy, safer streets. No, none of that. They just want Cory Booker and his ragtag crew of woke Democrat friends to continue screaming. And well, that's exactly what he and Mazie Hirono and others did. And well, I'm not exactly sure it was the right strategy, because firstly, they didn't stop Jeanine Pirro. Now here she is, implementing some of the most base policies we've seen thus far. And secondly, Well, the Democrats are in a little bit of a internal fight here. There's a lot of dysfunction.
The Democratic Party needs a wake-up call. I see law firms bending a knee to this president, not caring about the larger principles, that those free speech rights, that you could take on any client. Why are you bending the knee? Universities, there should be bastions of free speech, bending at the knee to this president. And what are the very people here elected to defend the Constitution of the United States saying, oh, well, today, let's look the other way and pass some resources that won't go to Connecticut, that won't go to Illinois, that won't go to New York, that will go to the states he likes. It's time for Democrats to have a backbone. It's time for us to fight. It's time for us to draw lines. And when it comes to the safety of my state being denied these grants, that's why I'm standing here. Don't question my integrity. Don't question my motives. I'm standing for Jersey. I am standing for my police officers, I'm standing for the Constitution, and I'm standing for what's right.
I mean, you could see the steam coming out of his ears. You could see his eyeballs are about to pop out of his damn skull. And he's not out here lashing at Republicans anymore, but no, rather at his own party, because apparently his resistance tactics are now starting to piss off some of the more moderate Democrats in the party. Certain Democrats who see the writing on the wall, they're sick of the obstruction for obstruction's sake mindset. They're starting to realize that screaming resist 24/7 may play well to the radical Starbucks barista who's trying to, push unions on the company. But everybody else, it's not a good look. And what people actually want is bipartisan deal making. People want good legislation. They want Democrats to actually work towards something good despite who the president is today. But Cory Booker describes that as being complicit with fascism. No, dumbass. It's called being effective and pragmatic and doing the right thing for the country instead of devoting to this ridiculous resistance ideology. I think Scott Jennings hit the nail on the head with this clip that kind of outlines what I'm talking about.
When did you flip? Because, Daily Show did a nice little hit piece on you and basically saying that you were very critical of Trump at one point. Just like J.D. Vance, just like myself, just like a lot of other people. What caused you to flip?
Well, I voted Republican my whole life, and I did vote for him 3 times. But like everybody else, I didn't get it. I mean, I readily admit I did not get it. I did not understand it. I did not get how this guy who hadn't been a Republican was coming along to take over the Republican Party. I did not get it. Over time, I began to realize what he was doing, and I also began to realize the choice. In 2024, for me, there was Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump, the idea of common sense versus whatever it is she was selling. Plus, his opposition, the reflexive nature of his opposition to hate and try to delegitimize him on everything he does, I think is terrible for America. I mean, you wear that pin? They're rooting against America.
Yeah.
On the tariffs, all April, they were hoping it would fail.
Imagine that.
They're hoping it would fail.
America.
On Iran, when we bombed the missile sites, what's the first thing that happened? We got to impeach him. Oh, he didn't do that much damage.
Yeah.
The immediate delegitimization of this guy. Every time he does something, they root for America's failure. Everything he does, do I like? No. No politician I'm 100% all the time. But I'll tell you this, I like it that he roots for America. Mm. And I hate it that they root against America. Bingo. Just because he did it.
Bingo.
And I think that's why a lot of people are fine with it.
Exactly. It's exactly that. It's these Adam Schiff meltdowns.
I mean, even her own people on Fox thought she couldn't be trusted to be on TV, on their own network. And after the show was briefly taken off the air, Fox News producer Justin Wells described they took her off because she was crazy. Optics are bad, but she's crazy. Her own executive producer also described her as nuts. Are we going to put someone that even Fox, and I'm not a particular fan of Fox, but even Fox thought was crazy, nuts, couldn't be trusted on live television? We're going to trust her with the lives and liberty of people in the District of Columbia?
Where he doesn't actually talk about the policy or the ideas, her qualifications. No, he just yells, she's crazy, and Fox News got rid of her for a reason. First of all, if Fox News makes a decision to censor somebody, it's probably because they're, saying something worth saying. Let's just put it that way. But secondly, what a dumb argument. And this dumb crap is what people are sick of. This wasteful, mindless resistance. You didn't block Jeanine Pirro. You didn't block the big, beautiful bill. You accomplished nothing, and now you got Democrats just slowing down Trump's nominees, getting in the way of important work that needs to be done, attempting to sabotage the mandate of the American people. And these people wonder why their party is in the frickin' dumpster. It's very simple. Stop with the crackhead behavior and let Jeanine Pirro cook, because clearly she's cooking up some delicious Michelin star level policy dishes. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.